we've got this one here, Pirate Queen, who actually gets us on our first topic of the morning. What are you doing?
I'm doing thumbs up. Magic. See? Where'd the thumb go? Look. Oh, how'd he do it?
That's one of Mr. Chato's many talents.
That's right.
That's like children's party level. Tom would slap you for that. He'd be like, I could do a better job than that, he'd say.
Oh, man.
Pirate Queen says, speaking of beer and ESG, oh, here we go.
Oh, boy.
Check out the absolute cringe that is the Miller Lite commercial.
Is that a real ad? I heard someone talk about it. The woman walking through something.
We're about to see it.
I went to the website to confirm it is real.
It is.
I thought we were smarter than this in Wisconsin. I got to imagine Miller Lite's headquarters is not in Wisconsin. As far as like where they decide to do ads and crap, because
this is satire, they're going all the way.
It is not. You said you checked out the website. It's legit.
Yeah. Let's just see this. We'll risk the strike. Let's just play this till the end. We'll talk about
actually,
oh boy, there's a lot to talk about.
Lord. Yeah, let's just okay, I gotta turn
it louder so we can put subtitles on.
Yes, sir. Just a moment. It's all turned down because
I do not mean to sound bossy, but everyone
there is no damn closed captioning. So
here's a little known fact. Women were among the very first to brew beer ever. From Mesopotamia to the Middle Ages to colonial America, women were the ones doing the brewing.
Okay, so far, probably partially true, but who gives a fuck?
I feel like we need some community notes on this.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? But anyway, we already could see where this is headed, right?
Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow.
Bet you she's a blast at parties.
Who is this? Who's this woman?
I have no idea.
This is a spokesperson.
Okay.
I am not convinced this is a woman.
Oh, Lord. Have we gotten to that point?
She should be in a bikini doing this.
That's what I said.
Wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up not just their shit, but the whole beer industry's shit. Miller Lite has been scouring the internet for all this shit and buying it back so that they can turn it into good shit for women brewers. Literally, good shit. How, you ask? Ladies, take it away.
First, we turn the bad shit into compost. Then we feed compost to worms, push out beautiful fertilizer. That good shit helps farmers grow quality hops.
Do they really think that this is attractive in any way? I get what they're trying to do, but they're not shaming me. Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck.
It's too angry. This could actually
That's what I mean.
It could have been done in a fun way.
If every single woman was wearing a bikini while they were doing this, we would all be enjoying it.
Right. And
then that would add to the humor of it. Yes.
Yeah. Or, just change it around to just men in tiny, it's muscled men in tiny jugs. So this is actually what we want. We invented this shit. This is what we want. But
no, I think
they're men in a slingshot.
Well, script is onto something. Like what you do is you have them, like you said, you have them in the bikini and be like, just because we look good doesn't mean we're not smart either. And then you get into this whole thing.
Anyway, let's
but anyway,
keep going.
Which is then donated to women brewers to make their own really good
But there's definitely more shit out there. In your attic, in the garage.
Okay, so they're basically giving away money to their competition.
Yeah. We're going to give money to microbrewers.
Yeah, that's part of the problem right now. And I don't know if Andre knows this or not, but because I'm sure you've been deep into studying some of this stuff in the last week or two of the stuff you've been doing. But like microbrewers are part of the reason that Miller and Budweiser and all these guys are taking a hit right now.
Yep. People are going to the microbrewers instead of this, their garbagey beer.
I would say American drinkers of beer, the choice is made real easy for you. Instead of going through each and every beer in the store to check if it's Anheuser-Busch Or now, if it's Molson Coors, because they do not want your custom either, just do it simple. Just don't take any chances, because they all need their ESG points, and just go straight for some microbrewery. Go for a local microbrewery, and you'll be on the safe side.
Oh, yeah.
You'll even support local enterprise, which is far better. And make no mistake about it, this commercial right here, Molson Coors needs their ESG points too.
So Coors owns Miller now, so that means I think it's out of St. Louis.
Yeah, it's Molson Coors. Molson Coors. Yeah, and look, I mean, I'm going to say something, and normally I don't comment on people's appearances, but it looked like the casting person was tasked with finding the most plain Jane women they could for this ad.
For the rest of them, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, is this a biological woman? I'm not familiar with this actress.
I'm with Andre on this. I'm not 100% sure. I can't not question anymore.
Given her weight size from her and her shoulder width and her hip width, I would say she's probably a woman.
Yeah, I'm going.
Script might be right. I haven't seen an Adam's apple yet either.
Well, not only that, like trans women have way narrower waists and hips, and she looks like she's got birthing hips. So.
Okay, so we can refer to. Okay, fine. So it's safe to refer to her to the actress as a she.
There's one other.
I'm 75% sure it's a woman.
Yeah, Script's onto something. There's also a way you can tell by the body shape too, because men get like pot belly, beer bellies. Women don't. They get like.
Well, also men have way wider shoulders, except for
that
me.
too. Yes. But there's ways. But that's the sad part is we got to fucking look anymore.
And they have to use. Shit, they had to do that. That's like very high.
You know what's really bad? Okay,
really cool by doing that.
Notice here, all the pictures of the women have their faces blurted out.
Yeah.
Now you think that they? It's just gonna say thank you for jumping ahead of the joke here. I was gonna say you think it's so they can protect them? No. This is so they don't have to fucking pay them. So they're using their assets without using their faces, so they don't have to pay these women who actually did this.
Well, and it doesn't give you a basis of comparison for beauty, because that's the last thing in the world they want to do.
Yeah, because the last thing she wants is anybody on screen prettier than her.
That's a very nice Angora sweater she's wearing.
Oh, you were just looking at. I can't say it. I'll be nice.
Well, I don't think she's wearing a bra, so
I'm not entirely sure about that.
Well, oh man, I gotta stop. I'm not gonna say it.
Hey, keep going.
Nope. No, I'm not Paul Chato. I'll keep it inside.
Keep going.
Yes, Ed would love that sweater.
Oh, Paul. By the way, they've already given us ways to go about making fun of this. I mean, yes, you make shit. Thank you.
Yeah. And they don't use hops in these beers. They use rice.
Not anymore. Yeah, they have.
Let's finish it up. I'm desperate to get
Send any shit you got into Miller Lite, and they'll turn that into good shit too. Oh. So here's to women, because without us, there would be no beer.
Wrong. In fact, the whole basis for civilization was the fact that we learned how to ferment things.
So, Mr. Gore, what we just heard here was what you might call a rewrite of history. Do you feel like running out to buy some Molson Coors beer right now?
No, I think I'm going to quit drinking beer altogether. I'm tired of this shit. And all these like corporate beers anyways are not great. I mean, they're just in terms of flavor. But what I'm tired of is centering unfuckable women in advertising, in media, and even in television and movies. Sex sells. A woman in a bikini or a mini skirt with heels, it's tried and true, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And trying to basically appeal to social justice young women is a fucking losing strategy. I think this is terrible, and I cannot believe this is coming on the heels, so to speak, of the Dylan Mulvaney fiasco.
Yeah,
Bud Light. I mean, I even like, God, I was at a bar the other day and they had Bud Light seltzer, which is like a hard seltzer. I like hard seltzers. That's kind of my new go-to. It's basically a vodka soda with a little flavor in it. Because I'm trying to cut down on drinking, oddly. And the
Yeah,
woman
this must be helping.
well, it's not going to help, but yeah, it could be helping. But also, by the way, you know that like just as a whole, younger people are drinking less.
Yeah.
They're drinking less alcohol.
Well,
So
they can't afford it.
well, I mean, could be that, but also, I just in general, overall, young people are drinking less alcohol. That's
Can someone just tell me what's the shit that they're talking about in this? I missed that angle.
They claim that they are buying, and I don't know how true this is. They claim they're going out and buying all the old materials, like the old ads and stuff, advertising stuff. And I'm assuming they're turning it into compost.
Oh, grinding it up into compost, and that is what
that's what they're insinuating here. And yeah, to me, this whole thing is fucking stupid.
Is that a strong selling point? Like,
no,
our beer is made from compost.
They could have actually gone another way other than what Script and Paul were talking earlier, and it just dawned on me. Like, they could have been actually jabbing it to Bud Light a little bit about actually having real women involved. But they didn't even do that.
Well, I'm
right.
The thing
they went and jumped
is
the fucking shark in this.
After
in this
the
sense.
explosion that's happened with Bud Light, who in their right mind at Miller would put this ad out? Even though it's a lighter version of it, I'm thinking I would have all the executives huddle in a room saying, that campaign you showed us a couple of months ago, let's take a look at it again. No fucking way we're putting this on. Okay,
well,
guys.
They just took it down.
It's also intended to shame men who like looking at attractive women.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
This is what I say to that. Fuck you. I want to see attractive women in movies. I'd love to see an attractive woman playing Cleopatra. We didn't get that. And this is just after the god awful, and it's people at these ad agencies. It's fresh out of college, young women in the marketing department who aren't even the demographic. Look, you can't sell something you don't understand. You can't sell something if you're not a consumer of that thing to begin with.
And there has been progress, and sex does sell. I remember before COVID, I went to the auto show and I went to the Fiat booth, Fiat Ferrari area, and there were like a bevy of booth babes in tight white leather outfits with the Fiat green and red stripes going up and down their side, and they're going, okay, a lot of guys here. But the change was that the girls knew everything about the car. 12-cylinder, right. 15-liter, and they sounded like they were auto enthusiasts. They could go toe-to-toe or belly-to-belly with the guys and could talk cars. That was one of the revolutionary changes of the, let's call it the sexual revolution or feminism, is that at least they were all completely dressed. They weren't hanging out of their outfits. They looked great, but they could talk cars. That was a big change from maybe 20, 30 years ago, where the girls were just draped over the cars and that was it. And there was nothing wrong with that. And I talked to one of the girls. They said, well, what's happening with your job? She says, I'm done. Like, I'm not allowed to do this anymore. They're all firing all our girls. I made my entire living on this. I busted my ass to learn how these cars worked, and I really love it. And none of us are getting jobs anymore because the shit that's out there.
Well, I think they are scrubbing the internet right now. I think Script's right.
Yeah,
but why can't good looking women get work anymore?
I got this up here right here that says I could click on it. Says B2G subscribe. Join our mission to turn old sexist beer ads into fertilizer to grow hops for women brewers. Sign up to help us today. Any bad shit you find, and we'll give you $10. I click on it, and it's no longer that.
Yeah,
wow.
It actually says you're not authorized to access this page. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They took it down. They took it off of YouTube already. They're scrubbing it, and it hasn't even been like 2 hours.
But did this come out today, or did it come out weeks ago?
It looks like this initially started in March, so it's not that old, but it's like
But
a
you
month
can't
and a half.
verify it
Yeah.
anymore because it's already caught on to the internet and they're against it, and so they took it off. Like you can't even go to the bad shit to good shit website anymore. It doesn't exist.
And back to the objectification of women. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem. I don't have a problem with objectifying women. I don't have a problem with objectifying men.
Hallelujah.
The thing is,
talk about my life, Chris.
Yeah,
I say
exactly.
every Monday night for two hours, I got to listen to women objectify Henry Cavill.
Yeah, first of all, I don't care. Shirtless Henry Cavill, shirtless Chris Evans, who cares? And you know what? Give us sexy women. Bring, Black Widow was sexy. Scarlett Johansson is Black Widow. There's that famous.
Well, I think the way that you really should put it, Chris, is that a lot of women want to be sexy, right? Or they want to be perceived as sexy, or they want to look sexy. Not every woman wants to look like a frumpy dumpy woman like in that ad. Right? Like,
yeah, what a terrible campaign. And on the heels of the Dylan Mulvaney thing, it's just stupid.
Well, clearly I think they were trying to not let us see this. I think Script's right. And didn't you say you just checked before the show when we were looking this stuff up and it was still there?
I actually checked an hour ago and I put the website link in one of my Twitter replies because someone was asking if this was satire. And I went there and it was a page that had the YouTube video right there. And, you can't. They replaced the page already. It just goes to the homepage now. Doesn't go to that.
I tried to go to it now and it's gone.
And what's funny is that they keep picking women that look like the dyke side of lesbians, and
right.
We for many years, a decade, supported lesbian charities, and there's two groups. There's the dyke side and the lipstick ladies. No one talks about them. The lipstick ladies look like more fashionable, traditional women. And generally, those are the couples. You've got the one that kind of looks like, male-ish, and then you've got the one that is, much more female. And that's how they find each other and they're attracted to each other. That's the split that they want. But they only show this one side. You never see the lipstick ladies. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's lipstick lesbian is a thing. But let me say that this is there a word we could make up that this is like an ist? Like if you're against attractive people, you're sexy-ist.
No, they used to just be called party poopers, but yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, those you could tell are just jealous because they're not that chick or that guy, basically, yeah.
Oh, so this campaign launched in March. So
yes.
It's one of those things of people didn't even, it was such a terrible campaign, no one noticed it.
I think Dylan Mulvaney had kind of like
overshadowed it, yeah.
Overshadowed it, yeah.
So was this pre Mulvaney this ad?
I think it's roughly the same time. Yeah, around the same time, but yeah.
Because Mulvaney was like late March, early April, right?
Let me look here.
Yeah, it was like March Madness was like
that's what I was saying.
Time of that
like 2 weeks
campaign.
after or a week after this one.
And you know what that tells me? That I don't know this for a fact, but if that came out in March and this came out in March, that tells me there's going to be something else out there from another beer company out in March as well, because it seems like someone in control of the ESG stuff decided that for the month of March, for March Madness, where we want all of the beer companies to show their allegiance to the cause.
Yeah, that's a good
point.
That's
why we would get something like this. That's why we would get several beer companies around the same time frame championing similar causes.
All right, I'm actually
go women and screw men.
It was April 1st, and that's why I think some people were like, what the hell? With the Dylan Mulvaney thing. That's when he dropped it.
Which time zone?
It doesn't really matter. I think it was in the middle of the day. Doesn't say.
Okay.
So
it just says April
2 weeks
1st.
after March Madness.
Yep. So couldn't even get it in the right window.
Yeah, no, they should have known by then.
The world has gone mad. Up here, there's been an attack on Mother's and Father's Day. Like you can't say it.
I saw that yesterday online with the whole Mother's Day thing, and they're like, not all mothers are women and shit like that all over the place and stuff.
Yeah, For mothers, it tends to be not all mothers are women. For fathers, it tends to be men are toxic and don't deserve to be celebrated.
Well,
I kid you not. I mean, that was
yes.
like the case in Spain last year or something.
No, it's not inclusive enough. And the irony is there's nothing more warm. Like we know, again, getting back to the gay thing, we have several lesbian couple friends with kids and one gay couple. And in the lesbian case, both of them are moms. And in the gay couple, one's called a mom, one's called a dad. And there's actually something warm about using the traditional terms in non-traditional relationships. That's what the irony is. There's a warmth, a fuzziness, a feeling of goodness by using those traditional terms in non-traditional environments. And there's, I mean, we're screwed. The world
It's not just
screwed.
that, Paul. I know a few couples myself, and in most cases, one will take on that role.
Well, there's
right?
that too. Yes.
That's what I mean. Like they actually will take on the more fatherly role or the
But
more
that's why
motherly
they're
role.
called that. That's why they make that split.
But in that, what they are doing is trying to create the more traditional roles and values in that. And that's what I was getting at. Is like, this is a totally different campaign. And Six sent me this here too in the background.
And this is a new thing because of a certain group of people who want to be on beer cans. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Well,
I'm
here's the
just
thing is I'll
guessing about this group.
actually give Miller a little bit of a pass on this because their whole thing about this was it was for Women's Month, right? At least they used real women from what we could tell compared to some other.
And we also have the person behind the campaign. So again, thanks to Six. What would we do without Six? For sending this to Tom. Sent an article here. Oh, I can't wait to dig through this in the next video. I'm already planning. But the person behind this campaign that we just watched, can you guess what kind of a name we'll be dealing with here? Like, could it be a man? Could it be a woman? An experienced dude in marketing? What say you? No, it's an Elizabeth Hitch. It's the person behind this campaign.
And who is Elizabeth Hitch?
Well, she's another Miss Heinerscheid. That's who she is.
And I would just like to tell the audience watching us that Six is a woman. So,
yes.
Just want to tell everybody that all this good research.
Well, and this might be the worst.
She turns shit into good shit.
You know what? They could have done this ad without shredding the babe pics. If they're doing a celebrating Women's Month, it could have been, did you know that women brewed the first beer and then just went through it, and let's support women brewers. Nothing wrong with that.
I have a bigger problem than the sexism part, Paul. I'm a historical person when it comes to ads and preservation of classic things like that. To me, that is tantamount to just destroying history if you're really doing this.
No. So, but I'm saying the ad would have worked better without adding the let's destroy the sexy girls.
Well, I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying in general.
ESG points if that wasn't there.
Sure, there would, because they're talking about women brewers and supporting women brewers, which we absolutely should. I mean, I think it's a great idea. The basic idea of that ad is actually really good.
That's what I was saying. I have no issue with the ads ideas other than destroying the old ads to make that's the part I have an issue with.
I agree with Tom completely, because you know what that is? That is judging relatively.
It's like Burke-Birding, for fuck's sake. Yeah, sorry.
Judging from the relatively recent past from a moral point of view of current values. The exact same way that these modern day totalitarians and fascists hopefully will be judged by history in the not too distant future. They are making themselves judges over previous history and deciding this wasn't good enough, and we need to deal with this and change things going forward in a more Puritan, less fun fashion.
And I have another reason why. I have another reason I think why they covered up their faces beyond just wanting to pay them, script doctor. Because you know damn well half these women probably be like, no, I was happy about that. I got paid good and I look good. Because what has happened 9 times out of 10 whenever they tried to ask any of these women who've been in Playboy before how they feel about it? Didn't they feel, used and all this shit? They're like, fuck no, I looked gorgeous. I wish I could look so good, they would say. They've even asked other women, like, what did you feel about doing this nude scene in movies? It's like, I love to see that. I wish I could look that good still, they'd say. Half the time, that's what they fucking say. They are not against this stuff. In fact, I bet you half of those women in those ads would flat out say, no, why are you shaming me for being in those ads? I was happy to do that.
Well, that's probably why they blurred the faces.
That's what I was just thinking. It had nothing to do with paying them.
You could get potentially a bunch of women saying, that's me. I was happy to do that. Happy to get a paycheck. Or maybe one of them's a dude now. We just don't know.
Well, see, and that's my point exactly, is I think it had less to do with not paying them. And they didn't want to risk somebody asking any of those women and then them coming out. Because how many headlines could you see that with? Like, yeah, no, I'm all for this. I made a living off of this.
Well, give them credit for running for the hills so quickly.
Well, I will say this. I guarantee you there are some men out there that will be able to identify who those women are without having to look at their face.
I'm not going to say you're wrong, Script Doctor. In fact, a lot of men probably still have them on their walls.
Right. I saw her at the Monster Truck Rally in Arizona.
Damn right. I got her autograph.
Esther. I got Esther. She autographed my butt. It was great.
One of my friends he's a very, tech porn, kind of guy like Chato. And but he's also really into cars. He's more of a gearhead than anything else. And his entire garage is decorated in these old beer posters,
right,
way back. I mean, so again, this guy, he's got a fridge in his shop, a full-size fridge full of, beers that he, loves to drink, and all these posters and everything else. And it's just, some of these guys love the advertising. Obviously, they're looking at it for a particular reason.
Well, there's a collector's market too, culture.
Well, I know. Believe me, I know. I actually have an original Coors mirror from a saloon that's actually up in this library room at the moment. But I think I'll probably see if I can sell that now. But I look at
don't sell it to them.
No, it's a relic of something that was once pure. So hold on.
Right.
Maybe so. But I look at a lot of these moves by these companies, and to me, it looks. I don't know if you mentioned this while I stepped away for a moment, but this looks perfectly orchestrated, right? It looks like these things were timed to go somewhat together.
Well, yeah, I did address that,
you
actually.
did miss that. Yeah, we actually got a couple articles that this is all about Women's Month. Yeah.
And so it's rather coordinated, but at the same time, I mean, now that this is coming to light in a big way, I mean, I would watch the stock of Miller trend. I mean, first and foremost, the only reason they were able to make their last quarterlies was because of the significant price increase they'd gone under it during that quarter. And, you're starting to see, beers, as you guys were mentioning, be less consumed. People are drinking less alcohol. Script Doctor brought it up, and perhaps that'll help people's decision making in the future. But I look at this, and I think it's I still think it's beyond coordinated. And if you want to level the playing field, what you do is you bring out this commercial that obviously aired in March, to harm Molson Coors. So, the stock's trending downward already today. I mean, I'm not
I love this.
Wow.
Well, and I can't imagine that we are the ones talking about this to make them do this shit. Like, look, I get it. We got over almost 2,000 people watching, but somebody else brought this up. That's why they tore that shit down.
Yeah, that's how we noticed it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, if you have, first of all, the Daily Wire, which is one of the first places I saw this morning. I mean, they made sure it was everywhere for a reason.
Fantastic.
Basically, I think they were hoping that the Dylan Mulvaney thing was going to take all the air out of the room while they were quietly trying to sweep this under the rug today.
Well, it didn't work.
It just didn't work. Yeah.
You know what? I'm kind of like thinking that people have a very special relationship with their alcohol. I mean, just look back to what happened during Prohibition a century ago, and now we have this, which, like, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does in a sense rhyme, because during Prohibition, I mean, there were
George Lucas was right.
Changes because of it. I mean, the Kennedys, for instance, they became big by being bootleggers in the first place, and
then war profiteers. I mean,
yeah, that too. But here, ignoring that, now again, here is like, beer suddenly became part of like the political agenda of the day. It did so during Prohibition, and it's doing so again right now, because the whole movement against Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch, that it's a grassroots organic movement from the people. It isn't organized or anything. That is something that came from a people that had had enough. And this thing right here, it's funny to see how this goes, but it's like this is a little bit too male panel right now. It would be great with a female perspective on how empowering this commercial is, would it not?
That would be lovely.
Yes,
I think so.
And
you know, and the whole thing, I just want to say before we bring in our new guest, the thing with this, you know, ugly women taking over these roles and stuff. I mean, aren't they the ones who benefited most from beer drinking? I just want to say. I mean,
wow.
Wow. But we have a very lovely lady in the back room here who's going to chime in on this right now. The one, the only Carolyn. How are you doing this morning?
Hey guys,
Good morning.
how's it going?
Good morning.
So
Laughing
I literally
over a 90-year resurgence of Prohibition, only this time it's from the customer's angle.
Yeah, I just watched that ad and I'm like, wait, what? Like there definitely was a better way to go about that. They could have still been like, hey, we want to benefit women. Let's empower some badass women. Let's show off some of the women who are actually doing cool things in the brewing sphere. They wanted to punch down, and they just looked like a bully while they did it. And they just cut off a big chunk of I mean, obviously women, beer is more of like a more masculine drink, but there's still, I mean, look at all the college girls out there. I was there. I used to have to drink a bunch of that shit. But it's
I just wanted to chime in. So did Alyssa Heinerscheid, the VP of Bud Light, who was complaining about how Bud Light was like this out of touch thing for college students and stuff like that, when there's pictures of her chugging alcohol from condoms and what have you not.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Woo!
There's a big difference between what you do and what you preach in her case.
That's just sorority behavior, Andre.
We all grow up.
Look, I'm a firm believer every 6-pack should come with a free condom.
Honestly, that would help. That makes more sense than you would think.
You know what? That's actually one way that Bud Light could salvage their image. Just like say that, okay, we're not sorry, we're not doing anything different, but here, now's a condom coming along with each 6-pack. I'm sure that just for that would go a long way salvaging some of it.
I wear condoms on each one of my fingers because I believe in safe computing.
Yeah. As long as
anyway,
not one of the
I
condoms you get from.
All right, one at a time.
Trans
One at a
men,
time here.
you know, only condoms, then you're good to go.
I just want to
I
say
was just saying.
Yeah, carry on.
Go ahead.
You know, I was just going to say I did not mean to rudely interrupt, so Kara, please carry on.
I was like, as long as it's not one of those condoms you get from like the health department.
Oof.
Yeah.
Whew. But yeah, I just watched it right before I tuned in here. I was like, wait a second, like that's kind of shitty. And I don't understand why all these ads are going about the way of wanting to attack other like brands or part of their audience base. Like it doesn't make any sense. I don't know if they're trying to do like the
I can answer that.
Well, obviously they are a little backwards with their thinking on the marketing team or whoever's in charge. But that's like the one thing you want to be is apolitical as a brand. That way you can bring in as much money and as many people from every side as you can. But you don't see that anymore. So many people are just trying to be like, well, look at me, look at all my virtue, and
look at who they're
all
hiring.
this.
Yeah, but look at who they're hiring out of marketing school.
But they're fractionalizing everything. Again, it comes down to dividing everything into its own little checkboxes, even down to the news, right? Because they did that with the major news channels. So it's all about dividing your own audience and kind of carving it up into your own little fiefdom. Entertainment's doing that. We're seeing that in a variety of different ways. You know, unfortunately, there's not something to compete with the majority of the studios at the moment, but there will be. You know, and you know, somebody's going to have to lean into, you know, catering to the largest possible group for a change. And I think you're right, Kara. I think that they've targeted the smallest possible groups.
Yeah, it's nano marketing instead of micro marketing.
Yeah, and like I actually used to room with a girl who I think she still is a promo girl who used to go to these events and promoted these different drinks, beers, all that kind of stuff. She actually, I think she still is like one of the higher ups there now.
Yeah, because what you're talking about,
made
Kara,
good money.
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, for those who don't know what, because I was kind of referring to this earlier, all these girls that are in the ads and stuff, they don't just do the ads. A lot of times they go on these campaigns all over the place, like what Paul was saying earlier too, is like these, you know, fairs and truck rallies and everything else, concerts and whatnot, and they get paid for that on top of it all. So it's not like,
I mean, look at freaking NASCAR trying to take away the
NASCAR,
the flag girls. Like it just like it does not compute. It just the way marketing is going nowadays is so backwards. It's just,
it's been backwards for 18 years at least. That like I first noticed it when I started in Hollywood, where you give them a premise for a really cool movie that you think is really cool, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't know how to sell that." Like no marketer would ever reject doing work. I mean, even if they couldn't sell it, they at least take your money. They wouldn't do that in my case or in these other cases for other writers that I worked with. They're like, "Yeah, we just can't do our job." Bye. It's like bewildering.
I don't know. It's frustrating. As soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah. F1 got rid of them. NASCAR's getting rid of them. Even the UFC, I think, is trying. Well, I don't know if Dana White will do that.
Supposed to know what round
the
we're
ring
in?
girls, exactly. Like my sister was a ring girl.
You know what's really interesting is that the F1 drivers, their girlfriends are all ugly. That's the one thing that you notice, is that you check out the girlfriends of all the F1 drivers, and they all look like those beer makers in the ad.
But they must have great personalities.
Yes, that's correct. And they,
I mean, you can be homely and still be awesome.
No, I totally agree. But clearly that's not one of their check boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what the folks out in the chat are saying about all this.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.